I thought I'd do a video showing you how I age my paper for my wedding guest books and scrapbooks and travel journals and that sort of thing. Everyone has their own method of this, and I'm sure you could find plenty of videos on YouTube, but I found some of them are quite slow. So I used to use a sponge type paintbrush and paint watercolours all over the edges, and then this took ages, and it was only recently I came across this, well, I worked out this method myself, which is silly because it's really quick and really obvious. So I thought I'd just show you because I wish I'd thought of it earlier. The first thing, the trick of the trade, is this tool here, which is from Prima. I'm not sure what you'd call it, paper distresser or something. You can use sandpaper, but this is a convenient little ridge here. So the first thing to do is get your card and just run it across like that, and it roughs up the edges like that and gives this sort of distressed look, which is what we're going for. You could also just use the sandpapery edge and just scrape it across like that, and that gets it done really quickly. You can skip out this bit, it's not that important, but it is, I like the look, you know, I like this distressed look. And try and remember to do it first, because I sometimes forget, and then you end up with edges after you've coloured the edges. When you sandpaper it, of course, the original paler colour comes through. I'd also like to show you, this is cream card. I started off trying to use white paper and edging it with watercolour, and just I mean, look at the difference. It's really quite stark, the white, and it just didn't look natural, whereas the cream card with a distressed finish, it looks okay. So I should get on and do this. I'm in the middle of making a load of wedding guest books, so I've got a lot to do here, so I should get on with this now. So I should also add, I'll be writing down links to places where you can get these things from. I'll put the links where I bought my paper card from and this from, and just writing a description as well, so you don't, if you want reminding and it's just quicker to read something than find a YouTube video. So I'll link to my blog post in the description below. This is actually quite a fun thing to do on a miserable rainy day like today. Right, so all my sheets of card has been distressed nicely at the edges, so that sort of soft, like worn in look. And now you just simply, as easy as this, you just dip it in your saucepan of tea. Go around like that. Dip it in that corner. And then put it on the newspaper to dry. Now we've got a wood-fired road burn, which is our heating for the winter as well, so it's constantly hot. I would recommend that you dry them out on top of your oven, because it just gives a sort of a crisper edge if it dries with heat rather than just dries naturally. So yeah, just another little tip for you. And then also what you can do as you do this, it's just so quick. I mean, sort of drip it over the previous page. You just leave it on top and it will smudge, and that's fine because that's sort of what you're going for. I have to admit, I might add another tea bag because this isn't as strong as I thought it was going to be. Yeah, I will. Yeah, I want a bit of a darker edge to this, I think, so I'm going to add another couple of cheapy tea bags and put it back on the top for a minute. Right, so that is 37 pieces of card done, so you can see why I needed a quicker way of doing it rather than painting all the edges. And it's actually really effective, and it doesn't smell of tea when it's dry, and yeah, I mean, it's looking good so far already, and yeah. So you might want to do paper rather than card, particularly if you're making a book with a lot of pages. I mean, card is just going to be too expensive. So the best thing to do is just crunch in a ball, like so, and then chuck it, sort of dip it in the tea, like that. Please excuse my dog in the background making noises. And I've put extra newspaper down because this is going to be wet and soggy. And then leave it to dry. Now you've got to be careful because paper is really delicate when it's sopping wet like that. Then you leave it to dry all scrunched up, and then you get nice patterns all over it. You know, it looks like it's proper parchment. As I showed you earlier, you really need to get most of it covered in the tea, because otherwise the white is just too, like, it's just too stark. It's too bright white. It just doesn't look old, no matter. Look, I mean, if I put tea around the edges, it just doesn't look right. So yeah, crunch it up and get it covered in tea. This is the problem when you do anything different. All the pets in the house just come and watch what you're doing, and they make a pain of themselves. I've had a cat round my feet. Right, so I'm going to do a few of these. See, look, unfortunately that's teared right in the middle there. Paper is so delicate when it's wet, which is why if you can afford card, then it's usually better. But you could just be a little bit more careful than me. So I'm going to lay these flat now. They're still wrinkly enough for the tea to sort of gather in the creases. So I've come back to the table and I've spread out loads of newspaper, because my next trick, if you want to age it even for again. So the effect is really good. I'm really pleased with it. But if you want to take it that little step further to give it a really aged look, then the next thing I might use is these walnut inks. This little bottles of spray, and it's from Imagine Crafts. Here's the packaging, and it just says walnut ink. And the 4 different colours. You've got terracotta, eucalyptus, java, and walnut. I'll show you what they're like, but the reason why I've spread out so much paper is it is lethal. It just goes everywhere. I don't think you can get away with not covering your work surfaces, because the spray just goes for miles. So you can do like several pieces of card at once. And I'll start with the terracotta, and you can mix them up if you want. So actually, I'm going to pause this and turn the light on. That's a bit better. Okay, so that's the terracotta colour. I'll leave that there to blend it and get some others up. I don't tend to do all my pieces of card, and sometimes you do get see little spots that are a bit more concentrated. I like that effect. I think that looks sort of like more of a natural one. So this is eucalyptus. Now that I didn't shake that up enough, and I've got lots of spots of that. So that's a sort of greeny colour. Again, you can just lay them on top of each other and you get 2 pieces done for free. I've got so many to do here. Okay, next, java. great big squirt there. So the results are pretty haphazard. Again, why you need the newspaper, and not so good for like really controlled work. Look at that great big spot there. So this is quite a black one, the Java. And I'm going to put that down, press it for another piece. Okay, and lastly, probably my favourite is the walnut. So that's gone in a really fine mist on that one. I'm not sure that's focusing very well. And then over here, oh, Tinkerbell. You've got the dots again. Again, it's quite a sort of authentic look, these little concentrated splatters. So fast, this is super fast. You can get through several pieces. I'm doing like 3 pieces of card at once. You just sort of spread them out like that. Do that, and that's 3 pieces covered. I suppose it takes a bit longer if you're worried about getting both sides done. I'm not too fussed about getting both sides done because I've still got the tea splatters. Again, very handy if the tea in your own time. It's not like I'm busy or anything. If this cat thinks anyone is doing homework of any kind, she'll come and sit on it. Come on, or you'll get squirted with ink. Last 3 pieces. There we go. Done. Press that down on there. And that one's already splattered. There. How long does that take? Like 2 seconds. And all that has now got a spray of ink on it. There we are. So all that's left to show you is the paper that's on the cooker at the moment. That's not quite dry yet. I should think most people, if they've only got an ordinary oven and haven't got like a constant heat source, that's going to really take overnight. I'm hoping this will be done in about an hour or so, and I'll show you that to finish off the video. See you later. Right, so the paper I did earlier is now dry, and it's okay. It's sort of a will do effect. It's pretty good. I think if I ironed it out at the moment, it looks a bit like someone screwed up some paper and dropped it in some tea. Maybe if I ironed it out, it would look a bit better. So it's a sort of, yeah, that one's a bit better. Loki, shush. So yeah. Oh, I apologise on behalf of my pets. I think it's nearly feeding time. Yeah, so this is my stack of paper. It also makes it look like a lot more than it actually is. That's only 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, that's only 10 sheets of paper. But if you put that between some nice covers, that'd look pretty impressive. All together like that, I think actually with a nice cover, it would work. It would work as a vintage style book of some kind. This is the piece that I totally dunked in tea. So yeah, it's not quite dry yet. It wasn't drying for ages. It looks a lot better, but it is absolutely full of holes. I don't know if you can see. It wasn't like really thin, flimsy, cheap paper. Wasn't quite as good as cartridge paper though. Anyway, that was no good. So that's that. This I'm happy with. I think yeah, I'll flatten them, probably just squash them underneath some heavy books, and I think that's actually quite effective. Yeah. And then of course one other thing to note is edging like smaller things like tags and the bits of card that I put in the pockets for people to write on. This is my friend Dovecraft Premium Pigment ink in, what colour is it? Just says natural. So this is my go-to ink for edging the edges, but of course, edging the edges, you know what I mean. But of course, if there's a colour theme going on, sometimes, even though it's not exactly a natural aging, sometimes I use green or pink even ink to go around the edges, but without fail I always go around the edges. It always looks better. So you know, if you miss one out, if I'm going through a finished guest book and there's a tag that hasn't got the edges been inked, it really does notice. It always looks better, so worth doing that. Right, well that's everything. Thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope you found it helpful, and please check out my shop for the wedding guest books I have, mainly in vintage style, some steampunk, some fairy tale, some sort of nature botanical stuff, gothic stuff, all a whole load of mix of things. Please check it out. I'll put the link below, and don't forget to look at my blog where I've written a description of what I've done here today and written the links to all the products that I've used, including the card, the ink, the Prima distresser tool and the inks. Hopefully that'll be useful. Thanks. That's it from me. Thanks for watching. Bye.